to talk on what conditions can a will be revoked. You can make a will, but it can be revoked. And that is why it is very important for you to understand under what conditions. As I said, I'm going to discuss on types of a will. It can be oral, which the decedent or the deceased, when you make a oral will, you should die within 3 months. And then a point of importance, a point to note, is you cannot have oral will and written will at the same time. If you have written will and then you have a oral will, the written will supersedes. So now, what would make your will to be revoked? Reminding you, if you have not subscribed with A Moment with Rukwaro, I would advise you to do it. That's a channel you cannot imagine missing. Now, what would make your will to be revoked? If you made a will, if you wrote the will, and you didn't have sound mind, you are not normal. You are depressed. You are probably in a state of this schizophrenia, or other depressive, or other types of mania. That will can be challenged. If you also made that will under duress, you are being forced by the beneficiaries, they forced you to do it, then it can be revoked. If that will was written, probably you are also under the influence of drugs and you are not yourself, and it can be proved, then it can also be revoked. If you wrote that will having been influenced by the ones who witnessed that will were the beneficiaries or the wives of the beneficiaries, it can be revoked. If that will was also witnessed by people who are not within the age of majority or below 18 years, it can be revoked. If the testator creates a new will, it invalidates the other one. If the testator destroyed the original will, then it can be revoked. If there is the destruction of a will by someone else at the instruction of the testator, then it can be revoked. It can also be revoked by express written revocation of a will by the testator. Then it can be revoked. Now, if the children, for example, who are supposed to be beneficiaries, and they are under 18, and they were not included in the will, and they are supposed to be included in the will, then it can be revoked so that these ones are included. That is why it's very important for you to be very, very careful when you are making a will. You have to be careful because the will is not always automatic. It has to be scrutinized and it has to pass the test. Thank you very much. I'm hoping my audience, you are going to think very carefully when you are writing a will so that your will be valid, and so that you don't write it under undue influence, and so that you give favoritism to some of the beneficiaries. It can be challenged. Thank you very much.